Good morning, everyone. Sheena, Creator Mom here. Happy Tuesday. So this morning I'm reading The Joy of Not Thinking by Tim Grimes. He's a great author, and here is my friend the sun right there shining through. Anyways, so I wanted to share this. It's about worry, which, happens to like all of us. It can it happens and we catch ourselves in it like, man, worry, all the negative thoughts. So anyways, I want to read this passage because I think it's really good. All right, so he says, because of our ignorance on this topic, we obviously were never taught anything like it in school. We aren't aware that the problems in our life often come from our steady stream of negative overthinking. They can be a direct result of that subtle but constant mental negativity. If that stream can somehow be reduced down to a trickle, many of our problems will go with it. So let me share with you another paradoxical piece of advice. Sometimes the most important thing you can do to improve certain problematic aspects of your life is to not think about them. Since we're so prone to think negatively, as opposed to even somewhat positively, about things that really bother us, such as our health, relationships, or financial issue, it's better not to think about those things at all, unless completely necessary. It's so true. I was thinking about this the other day. It's like, it's so crappy that it seems more natural sometimes to think negatively or doubtfully about something because that's reality. Like reality is always negative, right? Like, and the negative reality always feels more natural for us to believe in, and I just hate that. I really hate that. And just like trying to like force my brain to think, well, if you can accept that negative outcome and not be doubtful about it because you think it feels more real or it's reality, but it has not even come to pass yet, you can certainly believe for a different outcome, just the same way, because neither have come to pass yet. So why not choose a different reality? Why not make a different reality feel more real than this crappy one that's not going to serve you at all? Anyway, here we go. If you test this out, even for a short period of time, the results will probably surprise you. A significant emotional burden is immediately lifted off your shoulders when you stop thinking about your problems all the time. In the very least, this sense of relief will allow you to approach things more mindfully, and it will usually do more than just that. That's because not thinking about our problems allows them to be resolved without our direct conscious intervention. Ironically, by not always thinking of a rational solution, an excellent solution will often present itself to us with none of the normal stress involved. Richard Dotz brilliantly explains and explores this paradox in his book, Dissolve the Problem. He writes, one common objection people have is, I can't just ignore my problems and do nothing about them. They will not just go away if I stop thinking about them. The truth is exactly the opposite. Your problems will go away if you stop thinking about them altogether. This idea might initially sound ridiculous, but if you experiment with it, you'll begin to see its practical effectiveness. We tend to have a lot of mental resistance in our head, a negativity bias, or whatever we want to call it, and a bunch of negative thoughts on subjects that bother us each and every day. What would happen if those thoughts weren't continually there? What would happen if we stopped believing we constantly had issues we need to think about and resolve? It's so true. It's so true how my brain, it's always like, let's find the problems. Let's find them. It's just like sometimes in the beginning of meditation, you sit there, close your eyes, and it's just like the first few minutes is like your brain just rummaging through, where are the problems at? Where are the problems at, Sheena? Oh, you gotta do this, is that. But then eventually that kind of like, it does fade out. But anyhow, you'll likely find that if the majority of that stressful problem-solving type of thinking disappears from your everyday life, external problems will start disappearing for you as well. I mean, should it really be a surprise that when we predominantly think serious and negative thoughts about something that bothers us, it just doesn't just affect our inner emotional state, but also the actual state of our health, or affect the state of relationships we care about, or our financial state? If given time, such prolonged worrisome thinking affects all aspects of our outer reality. We can let go of a lot of that stressful overthinking just by being less serious and knowing that it isn't always necessary to think about a problem in order for it to be resolved. Drop the belief that you always have to think about it. Few of us are relaxed enough to not ever think seriously about our problems, but with practice, we can get much better at it. It's easy to cut down the amount of time you spend brooding over your perceived problems. You just decide to do it and follow through with it as best you can. If you find that difficult to do, a helpful tool to make it easier is to schedule a worry time once or twice a day and attempt to only allow yourself to worry about your problems during those short allotted time slots, like 10 or 15 minutes at a time. And what I do is I take my notebook and my pen and I will write down my concerns list, like things that are like my mind is seeing as a problem, but there is no like obvious solution, or I'm not sure what to do. Write it down on my concerns list, and then it's about brain dumping. It's like, oh, okay, I got it out off of my chest, I got it out of my brain for now. And then like I'll do that every day if I feel like it, and maybe I'll write the same thing on my concerns list. It doesn't matter. It's just the act of like getting it out and writing it down, so that my mind doesn't think it has to like retain it in there. My mind's like, oh, okay, you have it written down now. Like it's taken care of. Like you're noting this. So we don't have to continually hold it at the forefront of our brain, like the problem. Anyway, he says, this tool can become effective if you also use some of the other suggestions we've already gone over. Fully allow yourself a short, specific time to worry each day. Allowing yourself to do this can dramatically reduce the amount of time you actually spend thinking and worrying about your problems. Likewise, understand that when something important is needed to be thought about in detail and acted upon, it will usually appear obvious to you, right? So obviously, we're not going to sit there and ruminate about a problem that we have a quick and easy solution to. Like, okay, like I know what to do. The solution has presented itself. I will do that, Obviously. So that's what he says. Like, obviously, if there's like a solution there that you got to do, like you're just going to do it because it's obvious. You feel and know that you have to think and act on the issue at this point, and you very likely will because it feels right to do so. Again, when something important actually needs to be done, it seems obvious most of the time. You're not going to deny or second guess doing something that seems obvious. But it should also be obvious, especially after having read this guide, that most of your thoughts about the problems in your life are not necessary to act upon. They're usually just made up, entirely negative, worst case mental meanderings and mirages. We can become far more indifferent towards them. Most negative thoughts should not be treated seriously, let alone acted upon. We should be less reactive towards their presence. It's like spending all week worrying about going to a doctor's appointment. We are only actually with the doctor for 10 minutes, but we worry about it all week. And then he tells us everything looks okay and to come back in 6 months. Do you see how much unnecessary worrying we did? It seems silly in retrospect. Well, if you consider it, you'll probably realize that almost everything is like this mentally when it comes to things that bother us. As Mark Twain joked, I am an old man and have known a great many troubles, but most of them never happened. The majority of our worries are delusional. We spend so much time thinking about entirely hypothetical negative situations, it's okay to stop. Neville Goddard, another great teacher on this subject, advised to dissolve a problem that now seems so real to you, all that you do is remove your attention from it. In spite of this seeming reality, turn from it in consciousness. Become indifferent and begin to feel yourself to be that which would be the solution of the problem. So basically, immediately put yourself in the solution. Sometimes when I think there's a problem, I think to myself, there's a solution for this. Like there's an easy solution for this or something like that, you know? How would you remove your attention from your problem and turn from it in consciousness? You simply stop being so serious about it. Tim says, drop the belief that you have to think and worry about it. Do your best to stop thinking about it in your normal, rational, stressful way. Yet another advantage of doing this is it frees you to imagine what the solution to your problem could possibly feel like, as Neville touched upon. By dropping rational thought, you can imagine the wonderful feeling that an ideal resolution to your problem would bring, a huge sense of relief. Evoking this fulfilled relief feeling can be rather simple when we're not overthinking. We usually call it daydreaming, but it's not really dreaming whatsoever once we begin to understand the creative power of our thoughts and imagination. While it seems impossible to daydream positive outcomes to problems when we are overwhelmed by our thoughts, it can become an enjoyable activity when we're mentally relaxed. Being unburdened from our rational thinking enables us to pleasantly play with our imagination like this if we want. So I'm going to stop reading right there. But yeah, get this book if you're interested in more of what Tim has to say. It's called The Joy of Not Thinking, a Radical Approach to Happiness. And I like how he always focuses on becoming mentally relaxed, because you can't jump from overthinking and feeling negative to, oh, I'm just going to be positive now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to go through the neutral space first, and then once you're relaxed and come to a neutral, relaxed state of mind, then, sorry, the sun, then it's easier to think better thoughts and to imagine what could be some positive outcomes and solutions in your life, and try to dwell more in that state. Because again, right, our thoughts, our emotions, our energy is creative. I like to say we are basically like directed energy weapons. Like they have directed energy weapons out there. Well, how did they create that? Because everything is like within our design, we are directed energy weapons. So let's use our energy for our benefit, because in reality, right, like our energy, negative or positive or whatever, is the only thing that we can control. So if we're feeling this intense negative energy and overthinking, we have the power to take the steps to shift our energy completely by realizing I feel negative, I feel like I'm overthinking, I'm being overtaken right now. I'm going to sit down, I'm going to write down all my concerns. I'm just going to start writing. It doesn't even have to make sense. And you might feel silly writing some of the things that you're going to write. I feel scared, whatever. You just write completely honestly and genuinely down on a paper. And then do something to shift your energy. Whatever gets you relaxed. Whether you need meditation right now and to lay down on a mat, or whether you need to shake your body around and start dancing and singing, or acting silly, or going for a walk. Do some type of activity, whether it's stillness or active, that brings your body to a relaxed state of neutrality. And then you can start to feel and imagine the best outcomes. And there you have shifted your energy, your energetic state. And that's what matters. Your energetic state is what creates. All right. Because, it's like not necessarily like all your thoughts. Like each and every thought you have doesn't create something. Like thoughts just like fly by. But the thoughts we believe in, the thoughts that we put our energy into, those create. So shift your energy, because you're fully in control of your energy. All right, guys, have a great day.